Hopefully that kicked over. Hello, everyone. Let me make sure it kicked over for you guys. Give me 1 second. Got to pull that off the screen because why not? Why not be difficult this morning? Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today, we are going to be talking about slates. They're probably one of the most sought after mini lives or even lives in general that you guys are always asking me about is how to press slates. So today we're going to do a couple different things. We're going to be pressing slates using a towel as a cushion, using a piece of felt as a cushion, and the No Max pad. So buckle up, buttercups, because this is going to be a little bit of a long one. Here's why. Slates take a hot minute, and I mean minutes, actually, to press these guys. Now, I will tell you, for the large guy right here, you're going to be pressing him. I do have my heat press because it runs a little bit warm. At 395, we're going to do it for 8 minutes, which is 480 seconds. We are going to do the little guys, even though they're almost the same in thickness. I will be able to back it off just a little by about a minute. All right. So we'll be pressing that one at 420 for that. So here you go. This is what you have. You have two different style photo slates. These ones are the coasters. I believe it's, what is it? PS 008 for these ones. And then these ones, I believe, are PS 001. I could have that flipped. Anyway, these are from Johnson Plastics. They press beautifully. Now, I will also tell you in there that these photo slates, if you put them on mini easels, make little pieces of artwork. So you don't actually have to necessarily have them as coasters. And you can get special glue that will adhere to the slates that you can actually hang these on your wall if you wanted to. So we'll do that. I have I have three different images. As you can see, we all know where the favorites are in this conversation, right? My children, their significant others with their engagement photos, and then, of course, my fur monsters, right? The mud monsters are definitely where it needs to be, and, of course, they get to be bigger because they are. They are my babies. All right, let me pull you guys up in the comment section. I do have in the back office with me this morning or this afternoon. I don't even know what it is. We do have Miss Cheyenne and Miss Jody in the back of the helm today. So make sure you guys say good afternoon to the ladies. All right. First things first. Here are some prep things you need to know. Don't mind the shop. We are in full force with fundraisers. So this shop is rather messy at the moment. So let's talk about some things that you're going to need. Let me flip over to the other camera. There we go. All right, so here are some things you're going to need to know when it comes to this. PS001 is the larger slate. PS008 is the photo slate. Now, the photo slates do come, I believe it's 4 to a pack on these. The girls will double check. One of them will pop in. You'll hear this magical voice in the background. They're going to go double check. I believe the photo slates come in a package of 4 for these, but they'll double check with that. And this is a great thing to test on. If you don't want to be wasting your bigger slates, grab a package of these. Great for testing. All right. So for this one, we got to test our pressure first. Now, I will tell you, slates is one of those tricky things that you actually press upside down. You don't press it the way we normally do. So first things first, let's check our pressure. You do not want heavy pressure on this. You want a medium pressure, right? You want this to not crack. Okay, so there's first thing first. Now that I've got what I think is good pressure, we're going to use a towel, which I set somewhere. We are going to use a towel to press this. Normally, that calls for a No Max pad. All right, that's what they usually tell you to do, is this guy right here. Okay. This is an investment in your wheelhouse. This is great for ceramics. It's great for slates, but sometimes people just don't have the means to do it. So we're going to come up with the means to do it. So I'm going to take one of my fancy towels. Okay, we're actually going to put it in underneath the paper. Why is this? It's adding a cushion. It's allowing for your transfer to kind of hug up and around your slate. So now what we're going to do is check our pressure again. Okay. Whoops. I guess it's ready. Okay. So as you can see, I've got a little bit of an indent in there. That's kind of what I want. Holy Toledo. Got to find those. Got to find the, because, you know, fingerprints are going to need to be a thing. And of course, an extremely messy shop right at the moment. Only I would not have my, you know what? Sometimes you just got to break out the big guns. This is what you use them for, taking slates. Okay, so we're going to make sure that we're going to do this again. It's sticking because there's a thing. There we go. Okay, so take this off of here. Let it cool down. Oh, whew, I really did burn myself. Woo-wee. All right, we're going to take our design, we're going to cut it. Again, like I said, my desk is currently just a hot mess this morning. I might end up tightening this down ever so slightly, just because even though it is sticking to the top, once the paper gets on, whatnot. Now, here's the thing. We've been talking about bleed space on images, right? We're talking about how you want a tight bleed when it comes to these things. If you look at these slates, right, they have this really wonky edge. You're going to want to make sure you go right out to the edge of this, because what you're going to want this to do is kind of curl around. All right. Why is that? Because you want to be able to get into all these little nooks and crannies the best that you possibly can. Now, I have an old style of photo slates that Johnson Plastic had. The ones that you see, the bigger slates, is how it looks on the new coasters that they have. This one, you could see it kind of has a smooth side to it. This was just an old style that I happened to have one last package left of these. Okay, so we're going to lay our slates down. Hold, please. Hold, please. I'm going to take some rubbing alcohol really quick and just clean the top of this off because my hands were all over it. Let it cool off or dry off. Okay. You're going to want to give it, like I said, not necessarily the normal bleed that we've been giving these things. We've been giving them a little bit of a tight bleed, as I like to call it. But this one, you're going to want to give it a little bit of a generous bleed. Not too much. This is a 4. This one I was able to do a 4 because it's a 4-inch slate, right? So I have it at 4.125, which is the standard for a bleed space for a 4-inch image. I will show you, and it's because these ones don't have those jagged edges. You will see that I went up a little bit more on this one for reasons. Okay, so we have our towel underneath here. We have our butcher paper on top of that. I'm really going to make sure this stays on here tight. Okay, then what you're going to want to do, transfer. Here's the kicker. Transfer face up, slate face down. Okay. All right, so there you go. Yes, that is also another thing. Do not press silly. I did look at the comment section. Do not press, if you're pulling these out of storage, put them near your heat press, not in your heat press. Put them near your heat press. As your heat press is warming up, it's also going to warm up your slates. Pull them out of the packaging, pull everything out so it comes up to room temp because they can crack. That has happened when they're chilly. So if you're storing them in like a storage room or out in your she shed, he shed, whatever, she shed, ed shed, whatever, you want to make sure that you do warm these up a little bit. All right, so we have that. Transfer face up. We have slates face down. Like I said, I might add a little bit more pressure just because I did put this. There we go. All right, that's it. Okay, we're going to let this run for 420 seconds. I will show you that when you can peek under the hood with these. Now, there are people who will press them the other way, and I'm not going to say that you're wrong. Everybody's going to do it differently. Most manufacturers suggest doing it this way, and this is how Johnson Plastics, Frank from Johnson Plastics, if you know the story of Frank, he is the one that taught me how to do it this way. And the reason being is that the transfer then hugs up and around and in all of those little nooks and crannies. You can't necessarily do that if you do it the reverse way, the normal way, right? It's just not going to happen that way. So we want to be able to get into all those nooks and crannies. Now for this one, because we are going to be doing 2 different styles today, a couple different methods. For this guy, you want to make sure your bleed, so this is a 7.5 frame, right? Or picture, I'm sorry. And so I have it at 7. It's actually smaller than this. Hold, please. It's 7 to outside edge, okay? But it's a little bit smaller in here. So I did mine at 7.65. And the reason being is I want to make sure I go beyond this to get in these little tiny nooks and crannies. I don't want them necessarily white. All right, so this one we'll be doing on the Nomax pad. The other 2 we're doing on 2 different methods that you can use. One of them is using a towel from Driven by Graphics. That adds some cushion to it. Everybody has a towel readily available. Just make sure you put some butcher paper over the top of your towel just to protect the towel from off-gassing, all of that stuff. And it also gives it more of a smooth surface for when you're pressing it. Now, will this bother your print? It shouldn't. It shouldn't should not bother your print. I haven't done this way in a very long time, so we're going to find out if I'm wrong. I've done every one of these methods at some point, but because I have a Nomax pad, I just use that. But even your Nomax pads, they actually have some texture to them as well. This is made to be in the heat. It's something that you should probably have in your wheelhouse. As you can see, mine's dingy. All right. So now what I also want to show you while I have some here is we're also going to use craft felt. All right. So I am going and getting, I had to get some craft felt. And while you can use felt, just regular like felt you would use, I'm using a craft style felt because it's kind of going to mirror the Nomax pad in the way that how thick it is. So I have 2 of these. We're only going to use, actually, you know what? We're only going to use one because this is nice and thick. So we're going to use this as our squishy, right? So you have the Nomax pad to use as your squishy. You are using the towel as the squishy part. Now we're going to use the craft felt. The craft felt is just something great that you can literally put this on and add some cushion. You can use all of these methods for your ceramic ornaments as well, or glass, any of that kind of stuff. So it's not only just for slates, it's used for glass, it's used for ceramic. And if you pick one of these methods, it's an affordable option for you, and it does exactly what in the past it's done for me, we will definitely get to it. So this is the first time I will tell you I'm using the craft felt. I've used the felt on the bolt, the ones that you guys know that I use for printing, test printing on stuff. I use craft, the craft felt, the thinner stuff, I guess you could say, but it's on the bolt. This is definitely sturdy. Can you see this? It doesn't droop. Okay, so it's definitely a more sturdier type of felt. You can add that. I will definitely add that link to my Amazon shop just so that if you guys want to get that, you absolutely can. Great for test pressing. Now we are at the 220-second roughly time frame. So we're already halfway through this. And you got to keep going. I told you, buckle up, buttercups. This is going to be a little bit of a long ride, and it's going to be at least a half hour's worth of pressing on this one. I can't do them together because due to the thickness of these squishy things we're using underneath it, it's going to take a little bit. Now, I will stop this halfway through just to show you, because that's what I don't know, maybe I won't. I was going to say we can run it all the way through. We are running a test press on this one. Anywho, so photo slates, what can we use them for? Not only can you guys use them for weddings, great for wedding photos. You can use them for anniversaries. You can use them for memorials. They absolutely press gorgeous, right? They're just beautiful photo quality. You could actually hook yourself up with local photographers. And if you make a deal with a local photographer to press their slates or offer slates in their shops, a lot of times they'll go for it. It's a beautiful thing. You can also hook them up with real estate agents. Why are you asking me about a real estate agent, Nikki? It's a photo, right? Maybe the person wants a photo of their house, right? It's a beautiful little memento that somebody can add to a gift giving idea. People wouldn't have thought of it, but believe it or not, it's a gorgeous thing. And it gives them a chance to look back at maybe the house that was, because a lot of people will do house remodels, right? And so this is just one of those things with an established date on it. It looks stunning. So it's not just for memorials or weddings or birth announcements or ultrasounds. It could be for real estate agents as well. It's really whatever you want to put on it. It doesn't mean that there's any, stopping point. It could be a beautiful saying, if you will. Now, I did say at the top that you could take those little photo slates, right? They do come in a package. I do believe the girls did. Let's see. Yeah, they are thick. They are definitely thick. Ladies, do the photo slates, the little ones, still come as a 4-pack? They're great for test pressing, but they're also great for using them on mini easels. They are gorgeous for that. You take your easel, you paint it because I use the wood ones. You take the easel, paint it a beautiful black gloss, and it just looks gorgeous with these slates. The ladies are going to look that up and answer me in just a hot second. If they still come in a package of 4. Like I said, the old ones did. I just don't want to be wrong on the new ones.
The new ones are not. They're just showing each.
So what are they each, Cheyenne?
They are, let me double check. I think it's 3 something. Let me see.
I know that the big 7.5 by 7.5, I believe, was like $5.65 or something like that.
Yeah, the big one is $5.50.
Which honestly, for a 7.5 by 7.5 inch slate, it's not bad at all to have that. I mean, heck, it's a slate. It's heavy.
$305 for the little guys.
$305? Okay. Sorry to blow my nose, but I have to. Hold on one second. Allergies are fun.
Oh my goodness, the allergies are so bad right now.
Right?
There's yellow powder everywhere outside.
There we go.
It's just everywhere.
I know. It is. I saw a video of it. Sorry about that. But allergies are fun. Welcome to spring, everyone. Welcome to spring. That's right. If you guys haven't, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel, where you can find all these amazing videos that I have done over the last couple weeks. Actually, last week, I've been doing a Sassy midi almost every day. I've been doing a Sassy midi with the exception of Friday, which would have been this one. So here's the thing. This is hot. It's been in the cooker now for 8 minutes. With it being in the cooker, you don't want to be touching this with your bare paws, okay? I just need you to know that. This is not a touch with the bare paws kind of conversation. This is a break out the oven mitts conversation, all right? Because even my little gloves that I use on the regular, which are around here somewhere, of course, even those guys, this is going to run right through that. It doesn't matter. This has been cooking and baking for 8 minutes. All right, so I want to peek under the hood. And well, she's beautiful. She be beautiful. Towel method, check. Hold on. God dang, it's hot. There you go. That is my beautiful daughter and my future son-in-law. That's Mr. Allen and Miss Sarah. Gorgeous, right? So that's with the towel method. Absolutely no issues. No look of the bumpiness of the towel. Beautiful spot on color. So if you need to, use a towel, right? Fold it in half. We're going to set her over here. Fold it in half, right? And then what you could do is it adds that cushion that you need. Now, I am going to reuse the bottom paper just because for this tutorial. Look at that, just shows you how much the paper was coming up and around the edge, because look at that, how I pressed that, okay? So we're going to pull that out. All right, next one up is that felt pad, okay? And this, let me see. This is I got to say this without giggling. Okay, so it's a craft felt. It's a thick, stiff craft felt. Again, trying to say that without giggling. Yep, inner 12-year-old child. You're welcome. Okay, so we are going to recheck the pressure on this one because it's not going to be as thick as the towel. So we're going to check the pressure on this one. Let me put your paper just over the top. For this tutorial, we're just going to reuse the paper on all of this. Okay, I think it'll be good. We're just going to reuse the paper on all of this for this tutorial. Normally, you would change out your paper in between. What do you do with this paper when it's done? You put it through your paper shredder, you put it in a garbage bag, and you use it for packing material. All right, so we're going to move that guy aside because I like my fingerprints. Next up will be my son Joseph and his fiance Miss Jordan. Did I mention both kiddos are getting married and within a year? Did I both mention neither one of them decided to converse with their mother on this thought? Yeah, no. You know, I guess it could be worse. It could be, the same year. Could be the same year, but they did them 1 year after another. So I got to be blessed with that, right? Okay, so here's the thing. If you notice, I only tape it on 3 sides. Why? Because I want to peek under the hood. Okay, again, we're going to put this in my little cute spot here. We are using the craft felt. I might tighten it down just a little bit. It is the craft felt. It's a thick, stiff craft felt that you're going to want to use. Again, this is the squishy part of the thing. Again, this is going to be an 8-minute press. Nope, I guess I can't. Okay, we're good. We're going to see if this also works because you know what? You kind of want to use what's in your wheelhouse. A lot of times we don't have all the extras. I will tell you, my green foam pad that I have over there was over $100 for that thing. It was a 16 by 20. I wanted it so that it would cover the whole press, but that's a lot of change. That's a lot of coin I could be dumping into my blanks at the time, but I had a little bit of extra cash. I wanted this foam pad. So I went and made that an investment in my business. Now, a lot of things we can make investments in our business, which is beautiful, but there are sometimes we just can't. So I've made it the mission to be able to try to use things right here in our home just to get us out of the gate. This brings me to my next point. A lot of people, when they're first starting out, want the biggest and best of everything. We understand that. But the reality is when you're first starting with sublimation, it is okay to not start out with top of the line, okay? It is absolutely okay. Why is that? Who's to say you're going to love this when it's all said and done? Who's going to say that you're going to like everything you do in your wheelhouse? That gives you an opportunity to test the waters, right? So you can go get yourself an Epson Eco Tank. You can go get yourself one of the workforce ones. One of the ones you have to convert, okay? Don't come at me in the comment section because I do understand there are a couple different brands. Yes, I do also understand that Epson makes a sublimation one. And I also know that there's Sawgrass. And seeing that I have owned both Sawgrass and Epson, I can speak on both of them. So with that said, if you can afford a Sawgrass, then go with a Sawgrass. Sawgrasses are more money. If you can afford the Epson already made for sublimation style printer, then go for it. Spend the money, right? I am not going to tell you no, but I also know that the reality is that people will go to the Staples, to the Kinko's, to wherever it is to get that Epson workforce, right? And convert it over because they're just starting out. Listen, we've all been there. We've all started out somewhere. Some of us were able to afford the big business packages like from Heat Press Nation, and some of us haven't been able to. There's that. Let's talk about heat press. I completely understand everybody wants to do the Cricut heat press. There is other options out there, all right? Cricut heat presses are great for t-shirt making. Cricut presses, the ones that you have to manually push down, yes, those are definitely great for your towels, right? Because you don't really necessarily have to have a lot of pressure. It's heavy enough to cause good pressure, but there are some substrates where you definitely need to squish it. Garden flags are one of them. And I'm sorry, I don't always eat my Cheerios. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, yes, this girl's up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning doing the worky thing. My muscles aren't working at that time of night. Okay. So I need my press to do the work for me. I need it to have the pressure for me. If you can afford a Cricut press, you can afford a fancier studio. Let's just call it what it is. Now, also, I understand there are top of the line heat presses. I've had a top of the line heat press. All right. I've been down that road. I also decided that my heat press, it really didn't matter. I got used to a clamshell. That's what I purchased. As long as it does the job, I don't care. As long as it's staying up to the temperature that I need, again, I don't care. I just need it to do what I need it to do. And one of them is pressure. I needed to have pressure. So it is okay. I am giving you permission. Okay. It is okay to start with less and work to more. All right. We need to start you somewhere. We need to start you on your journey of loving sublimation. We need to start you with pressing the things, doing the things. Okay. That's what we need to do. We will get you beyond where you're at. Maybe you want to upgrade to that sublimation printer, right? Definitely made for sublimation printers. Maybe you want to upgrade to a different heat press. Maybe you only got a 15 by 15 and you want the 16 by 20. See, that's a goal. Every part of our sublimation journey from beginning to where you are now is a journey. You're going to have lots of different takes, turns, twists in that journey. And I want you to understand that. There is nothing set in stone that says you have to do this. Now, I will say this too. You will find blanks on the Zon, on the Sheen, on the Moo. Okay. You will find those blanks. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but, please understand a lot of these places haven't tested them. You have to read in the comment section what people have said in the star reviews. Not everything that you see that is posted for sublimation is, guess what, made for sublimation. All right. That is definitely also an issue. So you want to do your homework, and it's going to happen. You're going to come across something that you say it's made for sublimation. It say that it was 8 times in the thing that it was made for sublimation, right? And it wasn't made for sublimation. It did not press the way you wanted it to press. That can happen. Lesson learned, right? This is why we also have vendors, because our vendors test out the products. They test out the products before we roll them out to you. One of the conversations that I had with Randy from RREM Distributors on our TikTok channel last night. So if you don't know, Randy and I go live nightly on TikTok. She sells her PZ stuff. We also talk about sublimation and business. We talk about blanks from RREM Distributors. Sometimes we have Claire pop in with us, and we're working on getting Cheyenne in as well. So these are just some of the things that we do. We talk about business stuff. Now, one of the things we talked about is how we test products. We don't just buy the product and throw it out there and throw caution to the wind. We don't. When we buy our products, right, we are testing them out to make sure, one, they're actually sublimation safe, right? We also want them to press gorgeous, right? And we have to do it a few times. We also are creating templates, because a lot of times when you're buying stuff from overseas, they don't come with templates, all right? They just don't come with templates. So my vendors rely on designers, as myself, to create templates for you. All right. And that's just, there's a lot more work involved. So, well, yes, you can go and shop where you want to shop. That is fine. But please note that the amount of due diligence my vendors and myself put into our products, into that type of stuff, is where the money's at. All right. That's called good customer service. I mean, if you want to fly by the seat of your pants, by all means, I am not going to tell you no, but I just want you to know that's the kind of effort we do put into that. All right. We have got about 50 seconds left on this. This one is on the craft felt, the thick craft felt that you can purchase on the Zon. And we're using it as the squishy part. Now, if you're just joining in, we are testing out 3 different products, if you will. So we're pressing slates. The first one we did using a regular towel from Driven by Graphics. We folded it over. Let me see, can I handle this now? Well, I still have fingerprints. Guess not. I guess I will still not have fingerprints by the time this is done. Okay. So this is the one we did with the towel. As you can see, there's no markings on this slate. It didn't give me any ghosting. It didn't give me any modeling. I did press this using the squishy part, which allows your slate to sit inside nested. It allows the transfer to curl up and around the side of it, right? This doesn't have to be rocket science, people. Okay, so what we do is we put the butcher paper, as I open this up gently. Okay. As you can see, we did the butcher, we do our towel or our felt underneath here. We protect those items with a piece of butcher paper. Roll the back, that beautiful bean footage. Then we have our transfer, and then we have our slates face down. Again, the reasoning behind that is we want this to get pushed up and around any of those jagged edges that are going to be on the photo slates. You don't have to wrap this in anything. You just literally have to do exactly what I'm doing. And if you have the correct amount of pressure, this will work. Don't overthink this process. We do also want to let you know that you want to warm up your slates before you press them. They can crack. They're slates, right? So let them sit near your press as your press is heating up. I'm not saying put them on the platen. You could, but they're going to warm it up. It's going to make it harder to handle, especially when you got to put tape down. But the radiant heat that comes off of this will warm them up, pull them all out of their packaging. They come up to room temp, and then you are off to the races. It's going to take a while for it to come up to 400 degrees. So putting it next to your press is a great option. All right, let's pull this off and let's see how the craft felt did. Normally I use just the regular felt you can find on the bolt. This is the first time I am using the stiff craft felt, so I'm not sure how this is going to come out. Let's peek under the hood. Oh, she'd be gorgeous. Of course she is. Of course it is. I mean, amazeballs right here. Hold on. Pull that tape off. Whoo! She'd be hot. Okay, and there's that. Look at that. See, it got up in all those little tiny corners by doing that. So we can use a towel. We can also use this thick craft felt. And there, look at, I mean, she'd be gorgeous. I mean, they're also adorable too, so that helps. All right. So we did one of my beautiful daughter and son-in-law, and we did one for my son and my daughter-in-law. Okay, now, last one. Move this over. This is going to take some adjustments because it is thicker. Okay, she'd be as thick as a Snicker. Woo! That was a bug on my thing. That just freaked me out. Sorry. Okay, so what I want to do is lay this down. We're going to adjust my pressure first. This is going to take a little bit because this is definitely thick. We got a thick slate and a thick Nomax pad. All right. I will tell you one trick I will do because this is so thick. You got it. We're going to put in right underneath this bottom edge of this one enough to give it a little bit more pressure. I'm going to fold some cardstock to put in underneath there. Actually, you know, no, we're not going to do cardstock. I have this sitting right here. Let's see. I just folded my little piece of craft felt. Let's see. Okay, I think we're good. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so pull this out. We're going to put that underneath the front edge. The time, temp, and pressure is, I am using, the time and temp is 400. They call for 400 for 480 seconds. So I have, my press is set at 395 because I know it runs a little warm. So it's set at 395 for the, 395 for 480 seconds to answer that question. Again, we're just going to reuse our paper for the sake of this tutorial. We're going to use my favorite children's picture right here. Because we all know the mud monsters are really the favorite. The children will tell you that at least. The children folk will tell you the mud monsters are mommy's favorite. Okay. We're going to tape this down 3 sections. And if you have any questions, please, the ladies will answer them in the back office. They will. How in the world is my husband watching me? When you see your husband's comment come up on your feed and you're like, how is he watching you? He's watching me on my channel.
Hi, Kevin.
He's sitting outside in the car because he didn't want the dogs to bark. He's finally home from work. He had to work early. All right. So he's making sure that when he can come in. All right. Here we go. This is going to run for 8 minutes. Again, this is an 8-minute press. We are going to put the felt in under this bottom front edge. Okay. The reason being is I have a clamshell. Listen, they will tell you a lot of times you can't do slates on a clamshell press. They'll say that it's not possible. People will struggle with it, blah, 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 blah. I see you. I've raised you. Okay. So this right here, we're putting it under this front edge right here, right? Just enough to raise this front edge up. But you will hear a lot of people say, no, it's made for swingaways. No, it doesn't have to be. Okay. I will tell you, this is where we're going to want to peek under the hood. It is a larger item. You do want to make sure there's good contact. I am going to slide this back just a little bit. And we're just going to let her rock and roll. Okay. So we're going to let this run for the 480 seconds at $3.95 for me. We're going to try to figure out to make sure that it doesn't have any uneven pressure because that can happen with large items. The little tiny photo slates, not so much. We don't necessarily have that with these guys, but I will tell you it can happen with the larger ones. So we just want to be able to peek under the hood. This is one of those things you can sometimes save. And I've saved plenty of slates in my day with doing in my day. I sounded so old. And saved it where it's had some modeling. I was able to lay it back down, do what it needed to do because I taped it really well when I did it. But for this, we're going to just show you what it's like with 3 pieces of tape and if it works. All right. Do you use felt on my slates at all? I don't use the felt on the slates when it comes to the ones that I'm using for the photo slates. Now, for these guys, you could actually buy cork. Let me see if I have my cork. I have cork, and I want to make sure that my cork does fit. Let's see, that's my round cork. Of course, I can't get to any of my stuff at the moment because I am filled to the brim with boxes. Because isn't everybody just filled to the brim with boxes in their house? No, just me? Okay, fine. Let me see if it's in this one thing, but you can use cork in the back. You can use felt if you're going to use these as slates or as coasters instead of just a photo. There that is. Instead of just photo designs, right? So I did say that you could go in and you can use these as little mini photos and you can put them on easels, but you can also go and get, I just want to make sure that these do fit, cork. You don't have to put felt on the back of them. I get the cork that has the 3M tape on the back. We're just going to say, we're going to sacrifice one for the mission here. Okay. Put it back on the back of Sarah's because, let's see. Oh yeah, she's going to work just fine. There we go. Okay. So you might just have to trim this up ever so slightly. I would rather trim this up and have this, and then you can work with it because the slates are slates. Let me see. Can I go reposition it? Nope. Okay. So we're just going to trim this up really quick. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay. Nothing crazy around here. We're not doing anything crazy. That little edge. Okay. Pull off all the pieces. And then you have this on the back of your slates. You have that cork. It's already got the 3M on it. Love that feature. Okay. Put that on the back, and then you don't have to worry about it scratching your surfaces. I like the cork versus the felt, if that helps. And again, you can get them on the Zon. The ones that I got on the Zon, I believe, are in my shop. If not, I will definitely put them in there. They are 4x4. I also have them in round. Where can we purchase the slates? Ladies, can you please put the links back into the comment section? The ladies will put the comment section for you marked in there. You can buy the slates at Johnson Plastics. So it's jppplus.com. They're going to put the codes in the comment section and on the screen. They'll put the different codes that you need. So for the photo slates, right? The photo slates, these ones are sold individually. They are a PS008 on these ones, and I believe. And then the other ones, I believe, are PS001 on the larger ones. All right. So if you have any questions, put them in the comment section. They will answer you. I don't typically answer because there's so much time that we need to do this. I don't typically answer the questions directly. I go back and answer your questions when it comes to my lives. The girls who are working in the back office tend to answer your questions in the comment section. If you're new here to watching this, I just go through, I do the thing. But because we have so much time in between each process, I'm taking that opportunity to answer your questions live today. Why is that? Because photo slates seem to literally dog everybody. I don't know why we overthink them. There's nothing to be overthought here. We don't have to overthink these at all. They really are simple and easy. As long as you know that you have to have something squishy on the bottom. You like how I did that? You're welcome for that. They need to be squishy on the bottom. And the reason being is you want to take your slate. So you have whatever your squishy item is. It could be a Nomax pad. It could be a towel. It could be a felt, the thick felt, craft felt. You want to lay that down first. Then you want to lay your butcher paper over the top. We're going to be making our burrito here. You're going to want to then take your transfer face up. That means it's looking at you, right? Then you're going to want to take your substrate and put it face down, not looking at you. Then you're going to want to put a piece of butcher paper over the top of that. No matter what you do in what you use as your squishy item, it doesn't matter. The method of the layering is all the same. Why is that? We want to take your transfer. We want it to hug up and around your slate. We want it to get in all those crevices. If you were to do ceramic ornaments, again, you want it to hug because it has a curve to that outside edge. You want it to hug up and around it. That's why you want to make a more generous bleed space for those items, especially like your ceramic ones, the photo slates, because it needs to hug up and around it. All right, so that is the reason for a little bit more of a generous bleed space. Make sure you design accordingly, especially if you're going to put wording, you make sure you adjust for that. For my larger one, because I do have a clamshell, I am sliding a double layer of felt in underneath my Nomax pad because I need to raise it up a little bit to give it some even pressure. Now, whether or not that was too much, I'll let you know in about, 90 seconds. If that was too much and it's going to cause some modeling, and then how are we going to fix that? One of the beautiful things I like to show you on these mini sasses is how to work through the process, how my brain sees it, right? And how do we work through the little pitfalls that happen? This is raw in the real. You hear it from me live. It's not something that's scripted. Sometimes we're just pulling it off the shelf and just doing it. That's what makes the mini sasses or the sasses what they are, because they're real, they're unscripted. We're just flying through with the seat of our pants as we do our business, right? Sometimes we're just flying through. Here, these are now cooled off enough to where I won't lose my, nope, not so much. Sarah's is, Joe's is not. Okay. Again, these are the ones that we did. We did Sarah's with the towel method. We did Joe's with the thick felt. As you could see, absolutely gorgeous. I will tell you, because I could see it on Joe's. Slates sometimes with the coating will end up with these little bubbles that you don't necessarily see. Now, depending on where those bubbles happened, you can kind of just let it go. What you need to put in your description is that there are little imperfections on slates because slates are a natural item that are coded for us to be able to print. So no two are alike, especially when it comes to these jagged edges. You could take cork that you can go get the cork coaster backings. You can find these on the Zon. They have the 3M tape on the back, and they're great for the back side of your coasters. You can put them on your MDF to make for coasters, whatever you want. Okay. We're going to open this up. Let's see. What does that say? It looks like you have to order a case at Johnson. Under the OM, click each. Yep. You can buy each. You don't have to buy a case. Just have to click the right buttons. Okay. So I want to see if she's going to work under the hood here. So I need to not burn my fingers. That's what I need to do because this one is hot. I'd love to know where I shoved my... Okay. Put this back. Now, we're going to look at this. Before I even peek under the hood, I can tell you I probably have a beautiful press. So my image looks even all the way around. I don't have any rippling, modeling, and holy Hannah, you can feel the heat, okay? But because I only taped it in 2 sections, we're going to peek under the hood, and she be gorgeous, okay? So if you noticed any modeling, when you flipped it, you would flip it back over and press it for longer, adjust your pressure. But I know, and you know, that I did it right. Actually, I don't always do it right. I just want you to know that. I mess up more times than I know what to do with. And that's why I am not a professional. All right. So as you can see in the picture, the Mud Monsters Pure Pressed Gorgeous, right? Okay. Here's some things you need to know about these. If you can see, look at that. By doing it on the Nomax pad or on a squishy type item, it allowed, and because I made my bleed generous enough, look at it pressed all down in these little curves. I'm going to go all the way around. Okay. All these little cut marks that make slate. Okay. There's, look, Mom, no white. Okay. That's what that is. That is an absolutely perfect press. So 300, here's what we've learned about these as I set these all out. The felt raised this up perfectly to make it even. I adjusted my pressure accordingly. It is going to be, you're going to know, you're not going to want to do this as a squish the heck out of me. You're going to want some firm pressure, right? You're going to want some firm pressure, but it's slate firm. All right. It's not, you're going to want to break this. You're going to know when it's tight. You're just going to know. So is it more of a medium to firm? Yes. All right. You don't need to do these light, but you also don't need to do them as squish the heck out of me. You'll find your method. Trust me. So on these ones that are bigger, I did bring up this edge a little bit because I needed to make sure that the pressure was even because I have a clamshell. Swing away users, yeah, you don't got to worry about that. But us clamshell people, we do, okay? So we have this right here. What it does, we made sure there was enough pressure. It squished down in. It settled into that Nomax pad so that it hugged it up all and around that slate, getting into all of those nooks and crannies, right? So that's what that did. If you can't tell, I love to teach. I love and I get excited about this stuff because I love watching you guys do the thing. All right. We also tested out on felt as a squishy item, and we tested out on one of Marvin's fancy towels as a squishy item. All 3 worked. So whatever you got in your wheelhouse, just use it. It's okay. Well, yes, this is the gold standard, is the Nomax pad. I'm going to tell you that is an investment into your business, but you're just starting out. Maybe you don't want to buy another thing. Another great thing to use is a towel. Everybody has towels laying around, right? I just used one of Marvin's towels. They sub nice and flat. So I folded it in half. That worked perfect. We used a single layer of this thick craft felt. Let me pull this apart here. Okay. We use this, and that's what we used as our squishy item. All the items pressed beautifully, no matter, I'm trying not to touch this thing. She'd be hot. So let me throw these guys right here for visual interest. Those are, whoa, almost lost it. Okay, those are the three. Every method worked. The only thing I like to express, I can't express enough, is the extra little bleed, especially for slates, to get in around those little nooks and crannies. All right. So pressure is key. Making sure something is squishy, because the felt or the foam that's on your heat press isn't squishy enough. You need a little bit of more of a squish, all right, in order to have these press beautifully right out of the gate. It's one of those things, let's not struggle, okay? This is a no struggle thing. So $3.95 I did for mine because my heat press runs a little bit warm. So you can do 400 for 480 seconds, all right? I did the math for you on that. That's what 8 minutes is. So it's 480 seconds for this. They press gorgeous. I get my slates from Johnson Plastics Plus. It's the only place I've ever been getting slates. You're going to ask me price point on these. These guys are going to run you about $5.50-ish, right? These little guys are going to run you about $3. Okay, worth the investment because they sub gorgeous and they have a great turnover rate's not the word I'm looking for. You can sell them for a pretty penny because they're slates. All right. So these guys will start running at anywhere between $25, $30, and $35. I have seen them go up to even $45 on the larger photo slates. These guys, you can use them as coasters or mini photo slates, right, that you could put on easels. You can get special glue that will adhere to slates. You're just going to have to go and look for what that glue is. I can't remember off the top of my head what the name of that glue is, but you can get a special glue that you could put a hanger on the backs of these so that they can hang from the wall. Again, all of these items you can find at Johnson Plastics Plus. The cork that I put on the back of this was found on the Zon. That's it. If you guys have no more further questions, these are the things you could do. I would not use a pressing pillow to answer that question. They can be a little bit too squishy, if that makes sense. You want something that's a firm squishy. I know that sounded weird, but really a pressing pillow is too squishy, Mark. Whereas Nomax pad, felt pad, or the towels add just the right amount of a squishiness for these items. I think that's it. I think I've answered all the questions. If you ask any questions further from here on the rewind, after you watch this live, I will go back and answer them in the comment section. That's it for now. Thanks, guys, so much for watching, and I will see you all real soon. You know where, on the flip side.